Hi, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and I'm here today to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Panamax. Panamax is a heavy Euro game where you are doing a lot of things, but overall you're kind of transporting goods and passengers and military ships through the Panama Canal. Both ways. You're going one way and then you're going back the other way pretty much as often as you can. Like I said, Panamax has a lot going on, but it has one mechanism that I really, really love. And that is the idea that when you're sending your ships with their precious cargo through the canal, you can jump in front of other ships at certain times, and if they want to move forward, they have to push your ship forward. So you can just sit back and watch them push your ship. Other times, your opponents will jump in front of you and push your ship through. And the game does this in a very clever way. It does it by having 3 choke points, basically. On either side of the canal, there's like a beginning choke point where you're starting out, and then there's an open water territory after each of those, and then there's a middle choke point that goes both ways. This is a very clever design, and it might be modeled after the real Panama Canal, I don't know, or it might just be a really clever game mechanism. But what it does is it allows you to jump into either of those choke points and just sit there as long as you want until someone else pushes you out, or you can jump in there, get out into the open area, and then before someone else can get in front of you, you jump into the next choke point and just sit there and wait for someone else to push you. Because the fewer actions you have to spend moving your own ship, you can spend those actions on other things that you're doing. So it's a better economy of actions if you do it that way. And it's hard for me to describe the joy of watching some opponent who needs to get their ship through but your ship is in the way, and watch them just have to push your ship through instead. It's a great moment of joy in a game. And I was trying to think of other games that do this, but for the most part, other games that have a series of steps that you need to go through to fill an order or deliver something, usually they're independent, like you're doing your own thing, and maybe you're blocking other people. Like in viticulture, there are worker action spaces where you're placing workers, and you might put a worker there that prevents someone else from doing it. But by getting there first doesn't mean that the next step will be automated if an opponent wants to take that action. And that's the really clever thing about Panamax, where the order does matter. If you have the opportunity to jump in front of someone else, you can create a greater efficiency of actions because your opponents might have to push you through while you do something else. So I just think this is really clever. It works thematically just perfectly for a game based around the Panama Canal, but I'm sure there are other games where there are those types of choke points where if you get in first, like I can think what about a game where you are sending troops through a narrow passage? If you can get your troops in there first, then when your opponent sends their squadron through behind you, your troops are kind of just pushed along to get through that narrow passage. That type of thing. I'm sure there are plenty of ideas. I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments, and we can brainstorm some thoughts about other games that do this, or games and themes that could use this push mechanism, this choke point push mechanism. Thanks.